Because I'm certain in this audience, there are many persons who have withheld their votes because they got a promise and the water wasn't delivered. And there are many persons who changed their votes because they got a promise that water would be delivered. And up until last year when we broke ground, having either not voted or changed your vote for a promise, you still had no water. So how should the citizen of Masonal or any other district facing this challenge of I want the goods of democracy, how should we use our vote?
The potential of this area for agriculture and how it was difficult for the farmers because there was no irrigation. He reminded me that many years ago, probably about the year I was born, a former prime minister came up here and told the farmers that he's going to bring water here. And if they vote for him, the water will come. He will bring the water from the Black River and irrigate the Pedro Plains. That prime minister, I gather, was Michael Manley. Now, my father is from St. Elizabeth, and everybody know who Mas June is. In fact, he insisted that when I was born, that I should be called Michael. But my mother said, no. And therefore my name is Andrew. But I was born the year that Michael Manley won, and so my name is Andrew Michael. So in a sense, I was marked for politics. Now, there are some people who are good at dreaming. Nothing wrong with that. You need people with ideas. And there are people who are very good at expressing ideas. They will tell you things and it sounds so good and it appeals to your heart as well as your brain. And you say, this makes sense. Nobody could argue with the dream of irrigating the plains.
The Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project will bring 4,000 hectares of land, some of Jamaica's most fertile land, under irrigation. It will benefit up to 6,000 farmers and households. I think Jamaicans more relate to acres. So let me put it in the proper perspective. That's about 9,884 acres of land, almost 10,000 acres of land. I just wanted to give the scale of what we are doing. It's huge. Sometimes when I listen to the national discourse, the national conversation, it seems as if everything started yesterday. There is very little context and history brought to the conversation. And for some, everything started in 2016. Minister Green is correct to say that this project has a long and deep history, but he can only relate to the history after he was born. It is reputed that none other than our great former Prime Minister Michael Manley announced this project, announced the intention to irrigate these lands. And that speaks to the long-abiding dream and aspiration that these lands would be brought into systematic agricultural production. And I'm sure everyone here who is a farmer agrees with that. This is what we would want. Was it done? Why wasn't it done? Could it have been done? Well, let me read something to you, because it's always good to place things in context. Minister of Water and Housing, Donald Buchanan, says the upgrading of the Greater Pedro Plains irrigation water system is on track and will come on stream in June of next year. We are committed to the farmers of southern St. Elizabeth, and that's why we want to ensure that we provide adequate amounts of water for them to do their farming, Minister Buchanan said. He made those remarks while addressing the annual People's National Party Divisional Conference of the Brompton Division at the Brompton Primary School on Sunday, June 19. This was 2005. Mr. Buchanan explained that areas such as Beacon, Little Park, Newcomb Valley, Richpen, and Big Woods are expected to benefit from an improved water supply for agricultural purposes once the system is completed. With this upgrading and expansion, more than 500 farmers in the southern belt of St. Elizabeth would be better positioned to increase their production of fresh fruits and vegetables. He told the conference that for far too long, the lack of constant water for agricultural purposes had hampered the production capacity of the hard-working farmers in the parish. But he stressed that after the commencement of the upgraded irrigation scheme, the lack of water will be a thing of the past in southern St. Elizabeth. That was 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
To secure our prosperity through the democratic process, the first thing that the enlightened voter should look for in a government is not the promise of the goodies, the water, we're going to deliver road. Any politician worth his salt can stand up on a stage and speak eloquently and promise you anything. They can promise you anything. And many of you have fallen for it. Either by saying, boy, I'm sound good, me I go change your vote. Boy, I'm promise me this, or boy, I'm saying I go do that, and you change your vote. And then when it don't happen, you kiss your teeth and say, politics can't do nothing. But you have to know, as electors, looking back at this history and recognize that you have to use your vote, your authority over the politicians in a different way. You must vote for the politicians, because you can't do without the politicians. There's no way countries run without them. But you must use your vote to support the politicians that demonstrate the wherewithal to deliver. Some politicians come with wishes, and some politicians come with wherewithal. You ever heard that word before? Wherewithal, the ability, the capacity to turn promises and commitments into reality. They may not be the most eloquent politicians because they take their limited time to develop their skill in administration and management, in understanding problems, in managing systems and bureaucracy to actually get the results for you. I stand here as a politician not giving you wishes and dreams. I see myself as a leader of this country whose mission it is to deliver the benefits for the people of this country, to create the wherewithal, the ability, the engine to transport the Jamaican people from poverty to prosperity.
Of Pedro, of bringing water in from the Black River so that the farmers in this area can realize their true potential. Nothing is wrong with that. I share that dream as well. You would have heard Floyd sharing that dream. You have Frank Witter here as well. Shares that dream. I think everybody here shares that dream. But in as much as you need dreamers and people with vision, you also need the people who can turn vision into reality. So I am not here to quarrel with anybody or bring down anybody or disrespect anybody. What I am here to do is to say to you, the people of Flagabans, the people of St. Elizabeth, that the administration that you have now is the administration that has been turning your dreams and aspirations, your hopes and ambitions into reality. So we had the launch, the groundbreaking of the Pedro Plains Irrigation project. Minister Green would have told you it is a massive project. $26 billion will be invested in that project. It will bring water from the Black River. It involves the construction of 3 reservoirs, several pumping stations, the installation of major water mains, and the laterals leading off. The good thing with this project is that it also has an energy component. 9 megawatts of electricity will be generated from solar. It's a massive project, the largest irrigation project in Jamaica's history. I feel proud that it is my administration who will bring this dream that was articulated by Michael Manley and others over 50 years ago. And as I prepared to address the launch and groundbreaking of the project, I like to do some research. So I went and I dug up an old article. And I want you to listen to this very carefully. Useful information for you to have as voters. It says, the Minister of Water and Housing, Donald Buchanan, and there you remember Donald Buchanan, says that the upgrading of the greater Pedro Plains irrigation water system is on track and will come on stream in June of next year. We are committed to the farmers of southern St. Elizabeth, and that is why we want to ensure that we provide adequate amount of water for them to do their farming, Minister Buchanan said. He made these remarks while addressing the annual PNP Division Conference for the Brampton Division at the Brampton Primary School on Sunday, June 19. This was in 2005. Mr. Buchanan explained that areas such as Beacon, anybody know there? Little Park, Newcomb Valley, Newell, Crossroads, Flagaman, Richpen, and Big Woods are expected to benefit from improved water supply for agricultural purposes once the system scheme is completed. With this upgrading and expansion, more than 500 farmers in the southern belt of St. Elizabeth would be better positioned to increase their production of fresh fruits and vegetables. He told the conference that for far too long, the lack of water for agricultural purposes had hampered the production capacity of the hard-working farmers of the parish. You see what I tell you about dream? You see what I tell you about people who they are very good at articulating it, but they are not good at implementing it. Jamaica is not short of bright people. Jamaica is not short of well-educated, smart people. What we lack is the ability to implement things, to get it done. And this government is the only government that can say, we have the best record of getting things done. We have the best record of taking on the big problems, the big challenges. We have the unchallenged record of taking on what was considered to be the intractable problems. We have the record of getting it done. Whether it is the national debt, we take it on, we cut it in half, we move it from 130% to right now is at 68%. Whether it is crime and violence, right now, St. Elizabeth has a 62% reduction in murders. Nationally, we have more than a 42% reduction in murders. And it's not just this year. In 2023, we had a 7.5% reduction in murders. In 2024, we had a 19% reduction in murders. And this year we are at about 42% reduction in murders. Effectively, a problem that many of you think we could never get on top of, with a murder rate in the top 5 highest in the world, at somewhere about 49 per 100,000. We cut that in half now. Our murder rate annualized would be somewhere about 20 to 25 per 100,000. Big problem that people think would never be solved. Unemployment, 13% when we take it over. Unemployment is now down to 3.5%. Poverty as high as 16%. We cut that in half, 8%. Big problems, we take them on. And we have shown the results. And so we are taking on this big problem of irrigating our lands so that you, the people who own it and who farm it, can get the full benefit from it. You know, we have about 90,000 acres of what they call irrigable land, meaning land that we can put water on it and farm it. Since we have been in office, 45,000 of that is irrigated, almost 50% irrigated. We have a further 6,000 hectares of land that are either going to be irrigated, they are in planning or has started. And that includes the hectares for the Pedro Plains. When the Pedro Plains is done, in total, we will have about 57% of all our irrigable land under irrigation. Our objective is not to stop there. Our objective is to get all our irrigable land irrigated. Because the ultimate objective, my friends and family of Flagamans and adjoining communities, is for Jamaica to become self-sufficient in food production.
Yeah, look here. In 1972, when Michael Manley swept to power under the slogan of "Better must come," Shira had the country the best the country has ever been. And those of you who are skeptical can go look it up yourself. There's something called data. You can go look it up yourself. The Jamaica Labour Party under Lawson Shira had the best economy. All of Spanish Town Road, everywhere you go, was factories. All the factories were there. Under Michael Manley's 1972 to 1980, literally all the factories were closed. Everything disappeared. What did Michael Manley bring to the table? Better must come. Most Jamaicans, first of all, culturally, our country was one of the best. Okay? Everybody in the Caribbean wanted to be Jamaicans. Everybody wanted to be us. Under the PNP, everybody wanted to shun us. Nobody wanted Jamaicans in their country. And I'm not talking about the United States, Canada, or Great Britain. I'm talking about CARICOM nations. They didn't want Jamaicans in their country because we became a pariah. The country became a nation of beggars under the PNP 22 and a half years. It has been promises, 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 and nothing more. And when there's nothing coming in, but the promises made, the country revert to becoming a criminal paradise. That's what happened. And Jamaicans seeking to leave the country now were shunned, reviled. Nobody wanted Jamaicans in their country. This all changed. This all changed for the better when Michael Andrew Michael Holness took over. Jamaica is not perfect. In fact, far from it. But in order to develop a country, it takes time. Nations don't become first world countries. It takes on a whim. It takes generations. It takes great amount of planning, and generations help to make the nation better for their children. After when the United States entered World War II, the United States was not a world power. And that was in 1939. Think about this, because we look at America, this great stratospheric country that's blasted off into the stratosphere. In 1939 to 45, the Second World War was raged. I don't exactly remember right at the top of my head when America entered the war. America was not a superpower. It was not a world power even when they entered the war. But here's what happened. America had great capacity, and it had great people who understood how to work. And so America's massive, the massive size of the United States, including the potentially massive infrastructure that it had to, and that was put in toward the war effort, helped to propel America on the world stage. And when you drive in some places like in New York, you see roads that says old so-and-so, old so-and-so and so. Even though America is stitched from end to end, from Atlantic to Pacific, with highways, massive highways. It wasn't always so. It was after the war And the general, one of the generals, Eisenhower, who fought in that war, became president of the United States, and he saw the need to develop interstate highways. Because everything that you touch comes off the back of a truck. And so Eisenhower built out highways, and that expanded and made America the country that it is today. One of the reasons why America is one of the powerhouse it is today. Far and above anybody else, and that includes China to date. So Jamaica is not going to emerge into first world status because somebody looking at one election cycle or two election cycles and say, yeah, the Jamaica should have looked like Dubai. It doesn't happen like that. We ain't got no oil. And so everybody's going to have to toil. Okay? And we have to make the country better. And there are a lot of people who are making Jamaica better by virtue of living abroad, because Jamaica's number 2 foreign exchange earner is remittance. That's no small order. So even the Jamaicans who are living abroad are contributing. No, I'm not talking about those who are sending back the weapons. I'm talking about those who are sending back money. Give them some damn respect. Give the diaspora respect. But Jamaica is not going to become a first world country because somebody come and tell you it should be. With promises that you're going to get free house and free car and free this and free that and free everything. It don't work like that. It's a lie. It don't work like that. Tell them go to hell. You want a better country. Crime is down 42%. That's homicides are down 42%. Highways are being built. Progress is being made. Let us keep this progress going and stop with the BS, running behind people for a plate, a curry goat. You ought to be smarter than that, people. Those days should be way behind you. Thank you.